Even though it's February, the Oregon Ducks continue to get so much news right now when it comes to the high school recruiting class, as well as a former Duck as he's going on to his next adventure. We're going to be talking about all of the big and name recruits that are clearly considering the Oregon Ducks as some of their potential schools that they could play at, while also talking about a fan favorite here in Eugene and how he is doing at the NFL Combine. Before we get into any of that, though, I need you to check out this sweet t-shirt that I am wearing. Yes, what a beautiful model, but I'm only beautiful because of the t-shirt, and that's our St. Patrick's Day merch that we've got going on here on the channel. The Oregon Drinking Team t-shirts, they're so fresh, they're so fly, super comfortable. I love mine, honestly. It's the most comfortable material that I have seen. We've got it in the green as well as the black. Perfect for any of the St. Patty's Day shenanigans that you are going to get into. Very affordable, only $29.99. You're going to look the freshest and the flyest if you put that thing on. I think a lot of people are going to be saying, hey, where can I go get one of those t-shirts? You can let them know. They can go to chatsports.com/duckgreen, go pick themselves up one, or you can just tell them to go check out this video because we're going to have the link in the comment section and description of today's video. You click that link, it'll take you right where you need to go. You can go grab your t-shirt today, just like our good friends Alanis and Michelle joining the Oregon Drinking Team. If you want to see your name on an Oregon Football Report video, all you got to do, you go grab one of those t-shirts and we'll make sure that we shout you out because we always show appreciation to those who show support to us. Now, let's get into the video. This is the Oregon Football Report. I am your host, Will Ortner, and you know that I'm a true PNW because I've got my Southwest Washington High School football t-shirt on. That's right, I'm repping Hockinson, Washington because I grew up in the PNW, and I grew up rooting for the Oregon Ducks. And the Ducks have a ton of good news when it comes to the recruiting cycle right now in 2027. And we're going to start with a cornerback that actually is already committed somewhere else, and that's Donte Wright Jr. But I'm telling you right now that there's an opportunity for the Oregon Ducks to step in and make a big-time play for one of the top corners in the 2027 recruiting class. Obviously comes from Cal Poly, a very well-known high school in that California area that has done very well. Now, the four-star cornerback had quite the showing at the Nike opening football camp. For those of you who do not know what that is, having been to one of those in my past, I'll tell you right now, it's the best of the best. The best players in that region, in that area, they come out to see if they can't get themselves invited to the Nike opening camp over in Beaverton. I'll tell you right now, very impressive that Wright was able to come away with a defensive MVP nod in that camp in LA. Now, everyone does know that Wright is committed to the Georgia Bulldogs, but he has not obviously signed anything in stone, and the Oregon Ducks are continuing to really push forward and try and get Wright to end up in Eugene. Here's what Wright had to say about where he stands right now with the Oregon football team. Oregon's still pushing hard. Since day one when they first offered me, they told me they were going to push hard for me, and they wanted me in Eugene. So Coach Rashad Wadud and Coach Lanning are pushing hard for sure. Sounds to me like the Ducks have a legitimate shot here. When you look at a high school player where they already have a commitment, but they have not signed anything, obviously because they cannot sign anything yet, there's always an open door. And the Ducks have done a great job of making sure that they put their best foot forward when it comes to these recruits as they try and bring in some of the bigger name recruits to their program. If I'm the Oregon Ducks, I like where I sit right now with Wright, especially since he's going to come on an official visit later on this spring and summer. Will the Ducks be able to flip Donte Wright Jr. from Georgia? Yes or no? Let me know down below in the comment section of today's video. I think that they have a real shot, and I think that anytime Dan Lanning's in a room with a recruit, I think he's got a shot to make sure that they end up in Eugene. Next player that we need to talk about is an interesting one, kind of a late riser, and that is defensive lineman Brayden Parks. Now, Parks is a kid from Chicago, Illinois, or I guess I should say Illinois area. I don't know it's totally fair to say that he's from Chicago. Being a PNW, kind of all of Illinois is Chicago in my eyes. Now, the 4-star defensive lineman, he has lined up an official visit with the Oregon Ducks. It's going to come at the beginning of April, later on in this spring. So he's going to be there right around the time that spring ball is up and going. So he's going to get a nice chance to look around, see what's going on, see if the Ducks cannot come in and get him to commit to their team. Now, this is very important. Anytime that you can build a team through the trenches, that is always going to be something that you need to do. Oregon is a clear top contender for Parks, and if they are able to bring him into this program, I think that you're only going to see good things, not just for Parks, but as well for the Oregon football team. Oregon has done a great job of developing defensive linemen, in particular interior defensive linemen, and I think Parks can be the next example of that. Dan Lanning is going to continue to do a great job of making sure that he gets him on to campus and tries to get him on to this recruiting class. Now, before we get into the next two players that I need to talk about, I want to make a deal with you. Deal or no deal, get ready to hit that button. What I want you to know is that you need to come in and hit subscribe to the channel. We're going to have you covered throughout the entire year on the Oregon football team. It's not just during the football season. So if you hit that sub button, you're going to get Ducks content all year long. And what I'm going to get by you hitting that sub button is your free support for myself to create more content. Right now, I'm trying to make a video every single day. And if I'm going to be able to continue to do that, I need to get this channel bigger and bigger and bigger. You hit that sub button, you're signing yourself up to get great content from yours truly. And I promise that I'll be able to get more and more content out on the channel. Thank you to everyone who hits that sub button. Next player that we have to talk about is one of the more intriguing players in this 2027 class, and that is Honor Faalave Johnson. Now, this kid is an absolute freak. He can play a multitude of positions, and we've seen him be very successful at the high school level. He's also the type of player that can come in and really change a game plan for a team. He's such a good athlete that he could play a multitude of positions, not just on the offensive side, but on the defensive side as well, and vice versa. Now, obviously, Oregon has made Faalave Johnson's final 6 schools, and I think it's important that they're very high up. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people who are saying USC is kind of the front runner there for the athlete, but I do think it's important to note that Oregon is very high up as well, and it's going to be a battle, I think, for those West Coast schools. Here's what Honor Faalave Johnson had to say on his recruitment from the Oregon Ducks. He said, Hamp, Coach Chris Hampton, for sure. He calls me a lot, so just building that relationship with Coach Hamp, Coach Lanning reaching out a few times, it's just been great. Hampton is going to be a great DC for the Oregon football team because you can tell that he's going out and really attacking the recruiting rankings. It's also important to note that Dan Lanning is doing a great job of attacking this recruiting class and trying to make sure that all of the big-name players that have any interest in Oregon get the appreciation that they deserve and are shown the love that they deserve. If you continue to see the Oregon football team recruit at this high of a level, just by osmosis, they're going to end up winning some big-time games, potentially winning a national championship. How fired up are you for this Ducks football season? Scale it 1 to 100 down below in the comment section. I'm at 110. I already miss football. I miss college football. I think it's the best thing in the world. I want to be screaming shout at my TV because, well, unfortunately, I have to watch the games down here in Dallas. But I do want to be screaming shout just like the rest of y'all going into that fourth quarter. I just freaking love it down in Austin. Scale it 1 to 10, how excited you are for the football season. Last player that we have to talk about is actually a player who will no longer play with the Oregon Ducks because, well, he's going into the National Football League. Bryce Boettcher, obviously everyone's favorite linebacker. He was out at the combine today, and I'll tell you right now as it's my last opportunity to really talk about him here from an Oregon football perspective, I don't know that I've ever been more excited for an individual player. Now, if you're looking for more of what he had to say, you can head on over to my Twitter at Will Ortner, and I'm going to have you covered because he spoke at the NFL Combine today to Chat Sports' Chase Sr., and Chase was nice enough to send me some of those clips, which I put out as short content here on the Oregon Football Report, but I also put some of that out on my Twitter as well. And I thought that Boettcher handled the entire situation extremely well. He was not someone that was a big name interviewee when he showed up early in the morning at 8 a.m. Eastern in Indianapolis. He was a guy who just showed up and went to work, and he made the most out of his opportunity at Oregon. He did the same thing at the Combine, and I think he's actually going to absolutely explode once some of these on-the-field workouts really start cooking up. I have never rooted for someone more than Boettcher. I think his story is fascinating and fantastic. To be that great of a baseball player and still say, hey, I want to see what's going on with football, man, I hope he gets the world. I'm so excited for him, and I know a lot of Oregon football fans feel the same way as me. Make sure that you hit that thumbs up button on today's video. Really appreciate you coming in and hanging out with us. Had a lot of fun, just like we always do. Make sure you hit that sub button as well. I told you, we're going to have a lot of content here on the Oregon football team, and we're going to have it from a fan's perspective. Grew up in the PNW. You can see I'm repping Hawkinson football right now, just like I always will be. I will be repping Hawkinson football. I'll be repping Oregon Duck football. Thank you guys so much for viewing today's video. And Go Ducks!